Tell your story.
Change the conversation.
Organized by students. TEDxYouth at SHC.
I'm going to start by showing you a brief film clip. When I first saw the entirety of this film, I was beyond impressed. The animation, vision, and story were all created and produced by a 12-year-old girl from Europe. What if I told you that the international film festival that this film was a part of was also conceived and brought to life by 11 and 12-year-old girls? My 5 partners and I are organizers of a girls' film festival with the mission of encouraging and empowering young girls to pursue their interests in filmmaking. Each year, we have more than 100 submissions from young girls around the world. A supportive response from women in the film industry has been echoed in all of the keynote speakers and mentors at the festival, all successful women in the film industry, from Academy Award winners to well-known YouTubers. You might be asking yourself, why do women, from young girls to industry heavy hitters, think this little film festival, started by a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds, is so worthwhile? To answer that question, we have to ask, why can't guys submit to the festival too? This is a question regarding the festival that has become somewhat frequent. While I understand why someone would ask this question, the female-only constraint of the festival is the key part of its effect. Quick, think of one of your favorite directors. Now, are any of them women? Chances are, through no fault of your own, you thought of a well-known, respected male director. Maybe you thought Tarantino or Spielberg, Hitchcock or Scorsese. This is for a reason. A USC study found that women make up only about 10% of directors of top 100 grossing films. I'm sure many of you watched the 2022 Oscars. Jane Campion's Best Director win for Power of the Dog marked only the 3rd time a woman has won Best Director, with the first 2 being Chloe Zhao for Nomadland and Catherine Bigelow for Hurt Locker in 2010. 81 years after the first Academy Awards. And what about the award for cinematography? A woman has won in the Best Cinematography category only twice in 94 years, with a second win happening just this year at the 2022 Academy Awards. With a significant lack of women in lead positions in the movie industry, young girls have to try much harder to imagine themselves in a similar role, in an industry that is one of the most influential in the world. In addition to lack of encouragement through role models, one reason women are often not in directorial roles in major movies is implicit bias in the film industry. Many of our keynote speakers have pointed out that hiring young, up-and-coming male directors is viewed as producers betting big, while hiring a woman with the same amount of experience is often seen as a risky hire. In fact, Colin Trevorrow was hired by Steven Spielberg and other collaborators to lead 2015's Jurassic World, even though he had only 1 movie under his belt, simply because he reminded them of themselves. This example of a well-known person in the film industry shows that this type of bias is everywhere. While there isn't necessarily anything unethical or wrong about this type of hire, it's tendencies like these that keep the industry biased. In male-directed movies, data shows that women make up less than 8% of the writing staff, compared to making up half the writing staff on female-directed movies. Another insight regarding bias in the industry comes from Ariella Migdal, a staffing executive at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. We heard over and over again from female directors that they've been told, "You can't do this movie, it's action," or "This show is too hard for women." Providing a forum in which women can take on lead directing roles can offer opportunities to establish filmmaking skill in an industry with unequal access. We often get asked why we created a limited forum festival, only open to girls. If we noticed the lack of women in the film industry when we were middle school aged, so do other young, impressionable women. Girls get used to seeing almost exclusively male movie creators, and that's something we were looking to change. Deciding to limit the festival to only girls might be a controversial choice, but most definitely a beneficial one. Growing up, boys are affirmed by a multitude of male directors, showing them that being a filmmaker is something that is accessible to them and that they would be good at. Girls, however, are not given the same encouragement in their upbringing. As Martha Lausen of San Diego State, who conducted a study on women in the film industry, says, "Unfounded beliefs that women lack the necessary vision and drive to helm major studio features and that women are uninterested in directing such features is just one of the many unfair biases affecting the careers of women, not only in the movie industry, but in many." Unbalanced hiring is integrated in the fabric of industries that are familiar to all of us and that we interact with daily. Take, for example, the music industry. Let's say the production side. In a 10-year song sample, women made up only 2.8% of producing credits. The creative point of view held by women would enrich the production industry, and therefore the music we hear every day. Also mirrored in the gaming industry is the lack of women in decision-making positions. A 2020 study shows that 84% of executive positions at gaming companies are held by men. The unique viewpoint held by women is a relatively untapped source that, forgive me, would help the gaming industry level up. Introduction of these new voices will help enhance content not only in the film, music, and gaming industries, but in all industries. But as it stands, with a lack of female content creators, it's almost impossible for young girls to not get discouraged and not pursue their interests. Over my years organizing the festival, it has become clear that the energy of empowerment and encouragement aimed at lifting up young girls has become what sets us apart. Providing a dedicated, nurturing environment for groups who have been historically discouraged allows them to build confidence. Providing a limited forum temporarily shields the minority group and allows them to focus on building their skills without being discouraged by damaging bias they may encounter in the general arena. In our film festival, the female-only restriction can be misconstrued as conveying that we don't think young girls could hold their own against their male peers, but this couldn't be farther from the truth. The primary goal of limited forums is not to limit competition, but to lift under-encouraged groups up to where their peers started from. There are endless examples of limited environments inspiring lifelong affinities. While quite a few are catered towards women, in fields where women are underrepresented, such as computer science with girls who code, special STEM programs for young girls, and women audio mission for music recording and production, many also target other underrepresented groups, such as opportunities specifically for people or women of color. Over the course of my years running the festival, I've been able to recognize the value of giving young women who often don't see themselves as being able to easily enter a field known for being male-dominated, a space where this type of endeavor is not only possible, but encouraged. The growing voices of female creators introduce an opportunity for unique content from a different point of view than what is usually produced. The effects of this type of exclusive learning environment benefit all of us, with new stories, points of view, and creative approaches. In the early years of the festival, my 5 other organizers and I had no idea how impactful a supportive all-female community would be, not only for us, but for everyone involved. I can certainly attest to the effects of an exclusive environment. My willingness to reach for things out of my comfort zone has been strengthened by the support of the many women and girls my colleagues and I have received for the film festival. This entire experience has taught me about the importance of taking a chance, whether it be me working to expand the festival or young girls looking to submit. As we are being mentored by the generation that precedes us, we are mentoring the generation that follows. If you work in a field marginalized groups are struggling to break into, I encourage you to seek out limited forums and act as a mentor. Or better yet, start one yourself and help others pursue interests they didn't think available to them. No opportunity is too small. Take, for example, my local festival with a global impact. Limited forums not only help those they are created for, but enrich their targeted industry. By supporting limited forums, we are granted more voices in the greater community. Thank you.